The White Ship was a vessel that sank in the English Channel near the Normandy coast off Barfleur, on November 25, 1120. Only 2 of those aboard survived. Those who drowned included William Adelin, the only surviving legitimate son and heir of King Henry I of England. William Adelin's death led to a succession crisis and a period of civil war in England known as the Anarchy. Shipwreck. The White Ship was a newer vessel captained by Thomas Fitz-Stephen, whose father Stephen Fitz-Arrad had been captain of the ship Mora for William the Conqueror when he invaded England in 1066. Fitz-Stephen offered his ship to Henry I of England to use it to return to England from Barfleur and Normandy. Henry had already made other arrangements, but allowed many in his retinue to take the White Ship, including his heir, William Adelin. His illegitimate son Richard of Lincoln. His illegitimate daughter Matilda Fitzroy, Countess of Perche. And many other nobles. According to chronicler Audric Vitalis, the crew asked William Adelin for wine and he supplied it to them in great abundance. By the time the ship was ready to leave there were about 300 people on board, although some had disembarked before the ship sailed due to the excessive drinking. The ship's captain, Thomas Fitz-Stephen, was ordered by the revellers to overtake the king's ship which had already sailed. The White Ship was fast, of the best construction and had recently been fitted with new materials which made the captain and crew confident they could reach England first. But when it set off in the dark, its port side struck a submerged rock and the ship quickly capsized. William Adelin had got into a small boat and could have escaped but turned back to try to rescue his half-sister, Matilda, when he heard her cries for help. His boat was swamped by others trying to save themselves, and William drowned along with them. According to Audric Vitalis, only 2 survived by clinging to the rock all night. One was a butcher from Rouen, the second was Geoffrey de Lagal. The chronicler further claimed that when Thomas Fitz-Stephen came to the surface after the sinking and learned that William Adelin had not survived, he let himself drown rather than face the king. The cause of the shipwreck remains uncertain and various stories surround its loss. The most frequently aired version of events is that of a drinking binge by the crew and passengers. When Sabine the captain became reckless and dared to try to overtake the king's ship once outside the harbour walls. It is also told that priests were not allowed on board to bless the ship in the customary manner. Repercussions. A direct result of William Adelin's death was the period known as the Anarchy. The White Ship disaster had left Henry I with only one legitimate child, a second daughter named Matilda. Although Henry I had forced his barons to swear an oath to support Matilda as his heir on several occasions, a woman had never ruled in England in her own right. Matilda was also unpopular because she was married to Geoffrey V, Count of Anjou, a traditional enemy of England's Norman nobles. Upon Henry's death in 1135, the English barons were reluctant to accept Matilda as queen regnant. One of Henry I's male relatives, Stephen of Blois, the king's nephew by his sister Adela, usurped Matilda as well as his older brothers William and Theobald to become king. Stephen had allegedly planned to travel on the White Ship but had disembarked just before it sailed. Audric Vitalis attributes this to a sudden bout of diarrhea. After Henry I's death, Matilda and her husband Geoffrey of Anjou, the founder of the Plantagenet dynasty, launched a long and devastating war against Stephen and his allies for control of the English throne. The Anarchy dragged from 1135 to 1153 with devastating effect, especially in southern England. Contemporary historian William of Malmesbury wrote, "Here also perished with William, Richard, another of the king's sons, whom a woman without rank had borne him, before his accession, a brave youth, and dear to his father from his obedience. Richard Davranches, 2nd Earl of Chester, and his brother Arthur. Geoffrey Riddle. Walter of Eversey. Geoffrey, Archdeacon of Hereford. The Countess of Chester. The king's niece Lucia Mahort of Blois. And many others. No ship ever brought so much misery to England." Historical fiction. The sinking of the White Ship is referenced in Ken Follett's novel The Pillars of the Earth. The ship's sinking sets the stage for the entire background of the story, which is based on the subsequent civil war between Matilda and Stephen. In Follett's novel, it is implied that the ship may have been sabotaged. This implication is seen in the TV adaptation, even going so far as to show William Adelin assassinated whilst on a lifeboat. This is a literary interpretation that goes beyond the facts that are known. It is also described in detail by Sharon K. Penman in the historical novel When Christ and His Saints Slept. The sinking of the White Ship is briefly referenced in Glenn Cooper's novel The Tenth Chamber. The White Ship also sets the stage for the novel Hebsbra 1/4 Dira, by the German author Rebecca Gabler, copyright, which details the rise of Henry II of England, son of Empress Matilda. The long conflict between Stephen and Matilda is important in the Brother Cadfael series. This 20-book set of mysteries, by Ellis Peters, has a 12th-century Benedictine monk as its protagonist. Depending on the book, the conflict is either very important or just serves as a backdrop to the plots. The sinking directly affects the outcome of the short story A Light on the Road to Woodstock. In the GURPS role-playing game Infinite World setting, the Infinity Patrol that travels between parallel universes is opposed by another world with parachronic travel, Centrum. The point of historical divergence on Centrum is the survival of the White Ship, where William Adelin survives and his descendants lead an Anglo-French empire that conquers the world. That empire is later decimated by a nuclear attack on the palace in 1902, leading to civil war and worldwide collapse, which brings about the rise there of the socialist technocratic meritocracy Centrum. Poetry, Dante Gabriel Rossetti, The White Ship, a Ballad. First published 1881 in his collected Ballads and Sonnets. Geoffrey Hill, The White Ship. In his first book, For the Unfallen, 1959. Felicia Hemans, He Never Smiled Again, c. 1830, Notes. References. External links, The Wreck of the White Ship on Britannia.com.